Hey everyone, welcome to Thursday with Pastor Dan. Today we'll be doing Psalm 95, so let us take a moment to be attentive to a word from the Lord. O come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into his presence with thanksgiving. And let us make a joyful noise to him with songs and praise. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth, the heights of the mountains are also his. The sea is his, for he made it, and the dry land which his hands have formed. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. O that today you would listen to his voice. Do not harden your hearts as the Meribah, as on the day of Massah in the wilderness, when your ancestors tested me and put me to the proof, though they had not seen my work. For 40 years I loathed that generation, and said, they are a people whose hearts go astray, and they do not regard my ways. Therefore in my anger I swore, they shall not enter my rest. Starts out pretty good, right? Starts out with that joyful praising, that exuberance that we have or should have on Sundays, or beyond Sundays, but every day, but especially Sundays when we gather together to praise, to celebrate. Excuse me. We do that in worship. We come together, we praise, we lift up our voices, we sing, we proclaim, we come into the presence of God and one another to celebrate and rejoice. But we also should be doing that daily, every single day, because we should take time every day to take that moment and remember who God is and who God is creating us to be. And that should lead us to praise. It should lead us to this exuberance. But I fear a lot of us don't want to do the remembrance piece because it can be so painful. They remember that generation there that, God speaks and says, don't harden your hearts and be like this generation that I loathe. Remembrance often can be a painful process, because in remembrance, you don't just get to remember the good stuff. You got to remember the hard stuff, the bad stuff, the difficult stuff, the sins, and the truth in that. In that moment of remembrance leads us to praise. Honesty and praise, go hand in hand. Honesty, when we're honest with who we are and who we've been and who we can be, that goes hand in hand with praise. Because how can we not be exuberant in our praise and sing a joyful noise to the Lord, knowing that we come from our brokenness and our mistakes, and yet there's still forgiveness and there's still a new creation being made. There's one of the throwers. There's always like this embarrassed thing going on, like they're being judged, and I'm like, you got to make mistakes. You got to do it wrong so we can figure out how to get you to do it right. And I think there's some of that in our faith journey and our life journey, is we make mistakes. We can live in the mistakes, or we can look back, remember the mistakes, and see who we've become now. I've said it many of the times. I am not the same person I was 5, 10, 15 years ago, and that's a fantastic thing. That leads to joyful exuberance. That leads to this resolute excitement in who God is and who God's making us. Praise, joyous praise, is to be paired with penitent, honest remembrance. When we do that, we can look forward. We look back. We see where we've come from, so that we can see where we're getting to go. Brothers and sisters, when we look at this psalm and we dive into it, may our lives be ones of joyous praise, seeing where we've come from and looking forward to where we're going, and seeing who we are right now in the midst of who God's creating us to be. May you all be blessed with a joyous, excited faith. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a great day.